everyone and welcome back to my channel. I've got a review for you today on two fragrances from Jivago and they came out in 2022. So let me show you the first one. First one is this one here. This is the men's one. It's called Amour Eau de Parfum and it's for men according to the box and the marketing and stuff. Let's show you the box. The box has velvet on it and actually I had to wipe some fluff off. It attracted some fluff from my cat. So that is actually like a velvet, and that there is the box. You can actually probably see some pussycat hairs on there maybe. I'm not sure if you can, but that's not what this is about, of course. So that's the box that it came in. Bottle has this sort of like plasticky metal around the edges, not non-metallic, quite a heavy lid. And then I will show you the female fragrance, and the female fragrance is called Mon Amour, and I've actually got the Eau de Toilette. Now it does also come in Eau de Parfum, but I have here the Eau de Toilette, and it comes with this plastic stand, which kind of makes me think of Kryptonite from Superman, that kind of thing. Red, but you can see through it. Glass, and a lid that is not magnetic but quite pretty. I think that's a plastic on the top there. It looks like a ruby, and that is the 75ml Eau de Toilette, marketed for women. And the men's one is 100ml, by the way. That one is 100ml. Jivago sent these to me for review, so I didn't buy them. The prices are, the ladies 75ml is £129 and the men's EDP is £145. That one obviously is 100ml, so you get a bit more juice for your money and it's a stronger concentration. Honestly, between the two, neither one is masculine or feminine to me. They both are unisex if you like sweet perfumes. Now you might guess at the presentation as to what they might smell a bit like. So as soon as I sprayed them, I was instantly taken to Baccarat Rouge, and I would say that they may be inspired by the Baccarat Rouge fragrance from Maison Francesca Bianchi. Obviously I don't know that, they don't say that in their marketing, but they are similar. So let's start with the men's one. I already have this on my left hand and I also have it over here on paper. And I will show you the sprayer. These are really potent. Both of these are very potent, so I'm not going to spray a lot because it kind of it fills the room. When I first sprayed them, and I only sprayed one spray from each bottle onto paper, this room, I sprayed them in this room smelt like these fragrances for days. I'm not even joking. So they are very, very potent. So the men's one, they actually gave me these feathers to try them on. So this is the men's one, sprayed onto this feather. It's so decadent, so vintage, so retro. And I have to say, there is a clear difference between spraying it on paper and spraying it on skin. So I've got it here on my left hand. On paper, actually the two fragrances, the EDT for women and the EDP for men, quite similar on paper. Quite difficult for me to pick out too many differences, except that the men's was sweeter and more rounded in the opening. The women's, when you first spray the women's, it's definitely thinner. You could smell the alcohol for a little while longer. But really, yeah, the differences on paper were quite difficult to determine. So when I did it on skin, that's when I can tell some more differences. So let me give you the list of notes. So the men's Amour EDP has bergamot, sugarcane, jasmine, I can't read my own writing, patchouli, I was going to say petrichor, patchouli, musk, oak moss and amber. I think with the men's list of notes, that really does give you a good idea of what to expect, more so than the women's list, which we'll get to in a little bit. Especially, I do get the bergamot in there, it mixes in with everything. You can imagine we've got some sweet and heavy notes here. So even though amber is listed as a base note, even though sugarcane is listed as a mid note, you do pretty much smell everything all at once, but the bergamot is in there and it does lighten it up and it does add that slight citrus tone, but don't expect it to smell like a fresh citrusy fragrance because of all those other notes that really do make it quite sweet and quite rich. I definitely get a kind of ambergris style, salty, woody element to it. Yeah, on my skin, compared to on the feather or on the paper, on my skin it's so much more rounded and smooth. If anything, I would say that the men's eau de parfum is most similar to Baccarat Rouge extract, and that is my favourite iteration of the Baccarat Rouge. I've got a sample of the extract here and I've just sprayed into the paper card. And I do find, although I think the original Baccarat Rouge and extract are maybe spicier than these fragrances that we're talking about now, but if I was to compare them, and I would be remiss not to because they are quite similar, then the eau de parfum for men is closer to the Baccarat Rouge extract, but they're not exactly the same, but they definitely have quite a few similarities. So yes, I get the, let's do another spray on. Right, I didn't spray this end of the paper, so we're going to do fresh spray on this end of the paper and just quickly talk about the opening. Yeah, so you do get that freshness from the bergamot mixing with this sweet sugarcane note, which I'm guessing is ethyl maltol and is what causes the candy floss effect of Baccarat Rouge. And this one, compared to the feminine one, is rounder, smoother, almost, I don't think I'd say sweeter, but kind of a bit sweeter, or just a little bit more easier, likeable, because it is so smooth. This one is really smooth and the feminine one is a little more, I wouldn't call it rougher, but the notes, there's more woody, not as rich. So yeah, for me this is like a slightly spiced bergamot candy floss type or sugarcane sugar note. Yeah, more like a liquid, yeah, liquid sugar. More like a liquid sugar than necessarily candy floss itself. And it actually feels more subtle, even though it's a stronger concentration, it's the EDP, it feels more subtle and closer to the skin than the feminine one. So, do I get the jasmine? Not obviously. If there's jasmine in here, then it's mixing in with everything else and it's not too obvious to my nose. This is not a fragrance for people that are seeking out natural smelling perfumes, perfumes that smell like they could come from nature. This is very much a modern day, sweet, rich, strong, popular kind of fragrance. It does list oak moss in the base as well. I would say that the sweetness and the amberiness probably take over, and any oak moss is just not really that distinguishable. But It does retain that bergamot freshness for quite a while on the skin actually. But I don't find it particularly masculine, but at the same time, really anyone can wear this kind of fragrance. It's very popular with all people. I think, yeah, the only difference is this is, compared to the feminine version, this is just rounder, smoother, more approachable, I think. So that is Amour Eau de Parfum for men. And then we're going to move on to the female one. So this one, let me know what you think of these bottles. They're kind of wild. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be for everyone. They are they have their very own particular style. I definitely prefer the feminine bottle over the masculine bottle. Just for reference, there's the masculine bottle again. Very, very retro vibes with that. So the feminine, so we have the feather, we have the feather adorned with Mon Amour Eau de Toilette. Just stuck to my lip gloss. This one has a slight, it's definitely got a different note to it, a slightly different feel. They both feel like they're in that same ballpark of Baccarat Rouge type fragrances, but the feminine one has more woodiness to it, a more dryness to it. Feels like it has a bit more of an ambergris kind of feel, maybe a little bit more on the woody ambers. Something kind of sticks out in here, particularly in the feather. I think my skin, or anyone's skin probably, is rounding it out a little bit. On the feather, there's a clear, dry sort of woody note that isn't as obvious on the skin. So this is more vanillic, I think. So not just sugar cane or candy floss, a little bit more vanillic, but then a lot more woody. Note-wise, we've got quite a long list and I can't pick out most of them. So we've got Artemisia, honeysuckle mastic, rose, wild orchid, ylang ylang, jasmine, neroli, orris, tuberose, oud, sweet birch, lavage. I didn't look up what that was. Hello, I'm just editing and I've looked up what lavage is and it actually makes sense. It's a plant that has a taste a bit like celery and parsley. And earlier I mentioned a strange sort of woody note that really stuck out. And I almost said it reminds me a little bit of celery, but I thought it sounded weird, so I didn't say it. But I do think now maybe that is what this lavage is doing within the composition. Melissa and labdanum. And I would say that there's a lot here I don't get. Oud, for example, I definitely don't pick out any oud. Sweet birch, I don't know if that's supposed to be similar to birch tar, but I don't get anything leathery as such. I do get a hint of smokiness in both of these, which I think comes from those sweet woody ambers that are popular in a lot of fragrances, but particularly from if you've tried Baccarat Rouge, those kind of sweet woody ambers, some of them have a little smokiness. By the Fireplace from Maison Martin Margiela has that sweet smoky woodiness as well. I think if you like By the Fireplace, you might like either of these, but in particular the feminine one I think is a little more woody smoky than the masculine. Yeah, all of these florals, honeysuckle, rose, I mean I don't know what orchid really, usually when people list orchid in a fragrance they actually mean vanilla. Don't really know what orchid smells like. Ylang ylang, jasmine, neroli, orris, tuberose. They're all obviously blended in to a degree with these woody ambers and with these sweet sugary with a sweet sugariness. They're very difficult to pick out. I can't. Is there a general floral vibe? Yeah, maybe. More so, I think, than in the men's one. But I would never spray this and say I smell jasmine or tuberose, iris, or any of the other rose. Maybe rose. But it is a sweet, sugary fragrance with woody, salty, ambergris type notes. I am a little bit averse to a lot of woody ambers, but I have always had a little soft spot for Baccarat Rouge. Not to the degree that I ever felt like I needed to own it, because I do find it very synthetic, very sweet, and also very prolific. It's a very popular smell these days. There's a lot of copies out there, so I can walk down my high street or any kind of like shopping mall, and oftentimes I will smell a whiff of something like Baccarat Rouge. Not necessarily Baccarat Rouge the original, but it could be Burberry for her, it could be Ariana Grande Cloud, or it could be one of the many dupes that are available. I even caught a whiff of it in the ladies' toilets at work yesterday. So someone had something similar that they were wearing, obviously when they were in the loo. So it's a very popular DNA, and for that reason, for me, it's a bit of a guilty pleasure and one that I don't really indulge in too often. And if I smell it on someone else, then I think that's pleasant. But I don't feel like I need to be wearing this style of fragrance myself. It's my personal taste. I like things that are a lot more natural smelling. I like to be able to smell flowers. I like to be able to smell fresh air around the flowers, and just generally I like things that are more subtle, not so kind of like woody and sweet. So this is not really my genre, but as I say, I do have a little, there's a pleasure in smelling it. It's a bit like indulging in something extra sweet. You kind of enjoy it in the moment, and then you feel like that's it. I really don't need to eat cake for a little while now. And that's this genre of fragrance, that's what that does to me. So I think that if you don't like very sweet fragrances, if you're not a fan of Baccarat Rouge and its various copies and stuff out there, then I'd give these a miss. They're not going to be for you. But if you do enjoy that genre of perfume, then you might enjoy these. And if you were to try to discern which one would be better for you, then I would say that the difference is that the ladies' eau de toilette is more on the woody side, reminding me more of the original Baccarat Rouge, and the men's is more richer, smoother, rounded, less woody, and therefore a bit more like the extract. But it's not an exact copy by any means, and as I say, I don't know that the brand had any desire to create a copy or inspired by, but it is what it is. I've got to say what I smell, and that is really what I get from these perfumes. So let me know if this is something that you like the sound of. I believe I have a discount code. It's not affiliate, so I won't earn anything from it, but it will give you 10% off at JivagoBrands.com. I'll put all the details in the description. The code is GIL, so Golf India Lima. Is that an O? Yeah, O. GILO 10. So Golf India Lima Oscar 10. You can tell I used to work for the police, can't you? So that's the discount code. And I think that's everything. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video. Bye.